Here's something the fashion industry is counting on you never finding out. The markup on a typical $80 women's blouse from the factory to the store shelf is between 400% and 800%. That's not luxury brands. That's the everyday names filling shopping malls and Instagram feeds right now. Some of those brands deserve every cent. Most don't. And the ones that don't have gotten very good at making sure the difference is invisible until after you've bought. Today, 7 brands doing exactly that, and 3 alternatives that actually respect your money. Let's start with the one everyone already suspects but keeps buying anyway. Zara's entire business model is built around one psychological trick: making clothes look more expensive than they are. The stores are beautiful. The displays are editorial. The mannequins are styled like a Paris runway. But pull a $90 Zara dress off the rack and look at the label. Polyester blends, basic seaming, fabric so thin it photographs beautifully under store lighting and fades after 4 or 5 washes at home. Here's the number that explains everything. Zara produces over 11,000 new items per year, more than 20 new collections. That pace is physically incompatible with quality control. Speed is the product. You are buying trend timing, not construction. The real tell? Zara's own financial reports show gross margins consistently above 55%. That gap between what it costs to make and what you pay is the scam. Fast fashion brands typically mark up 4 to 10 times their production cost. For Zara's price points, that math doesn't land in your favor. When a $90 dress costs as much to produce as a $25 H&M dress, the extra $65 is going to store design, Instagram campaigns, and the feeling of sophistication, not the garment itself. Michael Kors pulled off one of the great illusions in modern retail, convincing an entire generation that a logo on a bag equals luxury. Their signature handbags sit at $200 to $400. That feels like accessible luxury. Not cheap, not Chanel expensive, just aspirational enough to feel like a treat. The reality is harder to swallow. Most Michael Kors bags use synthetic leather or low-grade genuine leather with basic construction. The hardware is plated metal, meaning a thin layer of gold or silver coating over base metal underneath. That coating tarnishes. Stitching at stress points loosens. These are documented, consistent complaints across thousands of owner reviews. But the number that gives it away most is this: Michael Kors bags are perpetually 40 to 60% off at department stores, outlets, and sales events. That doesn't happen with brands that genuinely believe in their own pricing. Permanent discounts are an admission that the real price was theater. The MK logo is the product. The bag is just what it's attached to. Kate Spade occupies a curious position in 2026. Widely recognized, widely purchased, and increasingly difficult to justify on quality grounds. The brand built its identity on fun, color, and personality, and for a long time, that was enough. But the products themselves have quietly declined as the brand scaled. Bags in the $250 to $400 range now routinely use PU, a synthetic material that peels and cracks over time, especially at corners and handles. That's not a one-off complaint. It's the dominant pattern across consumer reviews on platforms like the Purse Forum, where bag owners track durability over years of use. There's also the outlet problem. Kate Spade's outlet line, sold at a significant discount, is manufactured differently from the mainline collection. Lighter materials, simpler construction. But the branding is identical. Many buyers don't know the difference until the bag starts showing it. Paying $300 for a bag that behaves like a $60 bag isn't a deal. It's a branding fee. Free People has turned a specific aesthetic, flowy, bohemian, romantic, into a pricing strategy. A linen blouse at Free People retails for $120 to $180. The same weight of linen, similarly constructed, exists at a dozen other retailers for $30 to $60. What you're buying at Free People isn't better fabric. It's access to a mood, a feeling, the fantasy of a woman on a cliffside in Portugal who doesn't check price tags. The construction tells a different story. Loose threads, inconsistent sizing across collections, and embellishments, embroidery, beading, fringe, that don't survive repeated washing are recurring themes in owner reviews. Delicate pieces priced as investments that require dry clean care just to survive are not investments. They're expensive rentals. Free People's parent company is URBN, the same group that owns Urban Outfitters. The supply chain, the production costs, the manufacturing networks are not meaningfully different. The price difference between a Free People blouse and an Urban Outfitters blouse is almost entirely a lifestyle markup. Alo Yoga is Instagram first, product second, and the pricing reflects that priority. Leggings at $88 to $128. Sports bras at $60 to $80. All built on nylon spandex blends that are functionally identical to athletic wear, costing half the price from brands like Athleta or even Target's All in Motion line. The problem isn't that Alo Yoga makes bad products. Some people love them. The problem is what you're paying for. Alo's entire marketing engine runs on influencer culture, a curated world of studio-lit yoga poses and morning routines that cost an enormous amount of money to maintain. That cost is embedded in the price of every pair of leggings. Reviews consistently flag pilling on the Alo wrap, sheerness issues in lighter colors, and seam failures under real athletic use. These aren't luxury performance failures. These are mass market failures at luxury prices. The Alo tax is real. It's the cost of the lifestyle they're selling, charged to you on every receipt. Tory Burch sits in a clever position. Too expensive to be called affordable, not quite expensive enough to deliver on what the pricing implies. Their signature pieces, the Riva Flat, the Robinson Tote, built genuine cultural cachet in the 2000s. The brand became a status shorthand for a specific kind of polished, preppy meets bohemian American woman. That cachet is now being charged against without the substance to back it up. Handbags in the $300 to $600 range use materials and construction methods more consistent with brands charging $150. Hardware tarnishes, a complaint so common it appears across independent review sites, fashion forums, and Yelp reviews simultaneously. Leather quality on their mid-range bags has drawn consistent criticism for showing wear faster than the price point suggests it should. Tory Burch has a Trustpilot rating of 3.0 from over 2,000 reviews. Mediocre for any brand, genuinely poor for one charging premium prices. The gap between brand identity and product reality is wide and getting wider. Anthropologie is the most sophisticated scam on this list because it's not really selling clothes. Walk into any Anthropologie. The vintage furniture, the unusual displays, the clothes arranged like they were discovered in a Marrakesh market. It's an experience, a world. And that world costs a fortune to maintain. The store design alone is an industry benchmark. A typical Anthropologie dress retails for $150 to $300. The fabric? Standard cotton, rayon, or polyester blends. Construction? Basic. The pattern and print might be genuinely beautiful. That's real. But you are paying $250 for a dress that costs $25 to $35 to produce. And the difference is almost entirely the store you're standing in and the story the brand tells about who buys here. The tell is the fabric composition tags. Pull them. Polyester at $220. Rayon at $180. These are not premium materials. They're being sold in a premium frame, and the frame is doing all the work. When the experience of buying is more memorable than the experience of wearing, the product has already failed you. 7 brands charging for logos, aesthetics, and atmospheres, and calling it fashion value. Now the 3 that actually earn it. Uniqlo is the most underrated brand in women's fashion, and the reason is simple. It's boring to look at. No dramatic branding, no Instagram campaigns, just product. And the product is genuinely excellent for what it costs. Their Heat Tech line uses proprietary fabric technology that genuinely outperforms generic thermal wear. Their ultralight down jacket has been independently tested and recommended by publications with no commercial relationship to the brand. Their basics, the cotton tees, the linen shirts, the merino knits, are consistently reviewed as holding up after years of regular washing. The philosophy is called lifewear, clothing designed to improve daily life through function and quality, not seasonal trend cycles. Tees under $25, knitwear under $60, outerwear often under $100, for construction that outlasts brands charging 3 times as much. Uniqlo is what the other 6 brands on this list wish they were: reliable, durable, and honest about what it is. Quince was built on a single observation: the gap between what luxury materials cost to produce and what luxury brands charge for them is enormous and almost entirely unjustified. Their model is factory direct. No middlemen, no retail markup layers, no marketing budget inflating the price of every item. What that buys you? A grade A Mongolian cashmere sweater for $50. Italian leather goods for under $150. Washable mulberry silk for under $100. These are not imitation materials with fancy descriptions. Quince is transparent about its supply chain and the specific factories it works with, a level of disclosure that brands charging 10 times as much routinely refuse to provide. The trade-off is aesthetics. Quince is minimal and quiet. There's no logo to wear, no brand story to borrow. If that's important to you, they're the wrong choice. If what matters is the garment itself, the fabric, the construction, the longevity, Quince delivers materials that genuinely rival brands at $300, $400, $500. That's not a claim. That's the math of cutting out everyone standing between the factory and your front door. Everlane built its entire identity around a concept it calls radical transparency, telling customers exactly what each item costs to make and exactly what they're charging on top of it. That commitment has wobbled over the years. The brand has faced criticism for not always living up to its own standards. But the core product quality remains genuinely strong, and the pricing still undercuts comparable quality from brands like Theory, Vince, or Eileen Fisher by a significant margin. Their denim is consistently recommended across independent fashion communities, not for being trendy, but for lasting. Their cashmere, sourced from grade A Mongolian fibers, typically retails for $100 to $125 for a sweater that competes comfortably with pieces at $250 to $300 from brands relying on heritage positioning. Everlane won't feel exciting. The stores are quiet. The pieces are considered. But considered is exactly what fashion needs more of. And it's what the 7 brands above have systematically stripped out of their products while keeping it in their marketing. The fashion industry operates on a single assumption, that most shoppers will never learn what their clothes actually cost to make. The 7 brands covered today have built profitable businesses on that assumption. The design, the store, the logo, the influencer, all of it exists to make the gap between production cost and retail price feel earned. It isn't. The 3 alternatives on this list don't ask for that trust. They earn it through pricing that reflects reality, materials that last, and construction that holds up past the first season. The calculation that separates smart shoppers from expensive ones isn't about finding the cheapest option. It's about understanding what you're actually paying for and refusing to pay for what isn't there. 7 brands banking on you not knowing. Now you do.